sacrifice to save Zeus has brought me to a higher existence.
You still appear to be an Olympian.
Appearances can be deceiving, Kratos.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Kaptain Kuba here, and today I'm going to talk about one of the biggest mysteries of God of War 3's story, the higher plane of existence. We know Athena ascended there after being the only deity who died in a selfless manner. Once she got to that mystical place, she put aside her selflessness and realized she could be the one true goddess for people to worship. On top of her plan for the world, she also came back with a few new powers. No longer was she bound to a physical body. Instead, she returned in spirit form, but was still able to interact with physical objects. On top of that, she was also able to teleport anywhere she wanted, giving her an omnipresent status. Without a doubt, she obtained all of these new powers from the higher plane of existence. But what exactly is this mystical place? She only mentions the name once and never brings up the topic again. Clearly, this realm was where Stig Asmussen saw the story heading in the sequel, but Cory Barlog came back to the studio and took the series in a completely different direction. So that leaves me with the task of deciphering what this mystical place is, and whether I think Kratos and Atreus will eventually go there. Now, to answer the first question, I believe the higher plane of existence is loosely based on Gnostic mythology. Gnosticism was a heretical Christian movement from the 1st century AD. Essentially, they believed this universe was controlled by the one true God. This God is so great, so majestic, that no one can comprehend his existence, not even the many lesser gods that came from him. These gods include the embodiment of truth, foreknowledge, and spirit, to name a few. All of these gods lived in perfect harmony in the realm called the Playmora, which means the fullness in English. All of this changed when one of the gods from the Playmora rebelled against the other gods. And you will not believe me when I tell you the name of this deity. The deity who rebelled was none other than the embodiment of wisdom. What is Athena the goddess of again? Wisdom. But more on that later. As punishment for rebelling against the other gods, she was cast out of the Playmora. After this, Wisdom created another being called the Demiurge, who in turn created our miserable world full of natural disasters, diseases, wars, and get this, he also created all the mythologies of this world. According to the Gnostics, this is an evil god, and the true purpose of living on this world is obtaining knowledge from the one true God. Now, this is what the Gnostics believed. This is obviously not the backstory of the God of War universe, but I do think Cory Barlog took inspiration when making the story for Athena after the ending of God of War 2. When Athena says she comes from the higher plane of existence, I believe she's referring to the realm of the Playmora. So my theory is the following. Once Athena died, she ascended to the Playmora, or the higher plane of existence. Here she met other gods way more powerful than any pantheon from where she came from. After meeting gods such as foreknowledge or spirit, she became full of greed to the point where she wanted to dethrone the one true God. This did not go over very well with the other gods, and she was expelled just like it happens to the embodiment of wisdom in Gnostic mythology. This must have happened right after the beginning of God of War 3, because we see her descending from the higher plane of existence. Now, as to what her plan consists of, I'm not entirely sure, but I believe she's planning to get a hold of as much power as she can from her world in order to have a fighting chance against the gods of the higher plane of existence. This theory might explain why she was so desperate for power at the end of God of War 3.
Message.
Look around you, Athena. The world stands in ruin. What good is your message?
Go if you must. But first, I insist you give me the power from inside the box. That was meant for me! They will not know what to do with it!
In my opinion, the reason she was so desperate is because she would have to start looking for another mythological power again. Maybe in another mythology? She might be the bridge between the Norse games and the Egyptian ones. This is why I've dedicated an entire playlist for this character. Her role is just too important to be left alone. Now, does this mean that we will have a God of War game where either Kratos or Atreus goes to the higher plane of existence? It's possible since the realm is mentioned in the game, but I think it's very unlikely. The God of War series is mainly about two things: Kratos and Santa Monica's depiction of mythologies. Sure, it's a given that fans want to see what Santa Monica does with the character of Kratos, but I know for a fact fans are also dying to see what Asgard, Svartalfheim, or Vanaheim will look like. This is because these places are physical locations that have certain characteristics that make them special. The realm of the Playmora is not really anything. I'm guessing it would look something like the introduction of God of War Ascension. For a game, it wouldn't make for an interesting setting, but I believe it would be perfect for the ending of the series. Because let's be honest, if my theory is correct, then all the creation stories that come from mythology, like the War of the Primordials or the body of Ymir that creates the Norse world, were created by the Demiurge. And what better way to end the series than taking the fight to where it all started, one final pantheon to destroy called the higher plane of existence. If you're wondering where I learned all this information regarding the Gnostics, I want to point you in the direction of Dr. Bart Ehrman. this guy has lectures explaining early church history, Gnosticism, Bible corruption, and many other history-related topics. So if any of those interest you, make sure to look him up on YouTube. With that said, let me know what you thought about the theory. Is it possible Athena came from the Playmora and is planning to take control of it again? Whatever your thoughts are, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. As always, I want to thank all of my members for their monthly support of the channel. People like Psychotic, Boss for Life, and Kratos Godslayer, to name a few, are simply the best. I would also like to thank all of my subscribers for liking and sharing my videos. This channel would be nothing without you guys. And with that said, thanks for watching, and remember, go forth in the name of Ragnarok.